The sky above Earth cracked open with a flash of burning light. 2 escape pods, shaped like silver teardrops, tore through the clouds and crashed into a forest far from any city. Inside those pods were not weapons or machines. Inside were 2 alien girls, sisters from a faraway star system, Velia and Thari. They were not ordinary girls on their home planet. They were daughters of the High House of Rethalan. Warriors trained in strategy, discipline, and honor. But they had disobeyed the Empress. They had questioned orders, shown kindness to a conquered species. That was enough to be called traitors. Their punishment, exile to a primitive world. A place called Earth. When the pods hit the ground, trees shattered and fire danced through the woods. The crash was loud, but not enough to reach the nearest human town. Velia was the first to step out, tall and proud. Her golden suit damaged but her eyes full of fire. Thari followed, limping slightly, her hands trembling as she looked at the strange green forest around them. "This is the punishment planet," Velia said coldly. "We survive, then we leave." But Thari looked up at the stars and whispered, "It's quiet here." Not far from the forest, a young man named Adam was fixing the fence around his farm. He had no family left, no friends nearby, and no real reason to check the sky. But something made him look up. He saw the fire trail, the impact, the smoke rising from the trees. He grabbed a flashlight and ran, alone, into the forest. Velia spotted movement, her hand going to a blade hidden in her suit. But Thari raised her hand. "Wait." Adam stepped into the clearing and stopped, frozen. He had never seen anything like them. 2 beautiful beings, glowing faintly in the moonlight, dressed in something that looked like armor from another world. Velia stepped forward. "Human," she said, her voice sharp and deep. Adam didn't speak. He just slowly placed his flashlight on the ground and raised his hands. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said calmly. "Are you okay?" Thari tilted her head, her voice soft. "You're not afraid of us?" Adam smiled slightly. "Should I be?" Velia narrowed her eyes, ready to strike if needed. But Thari suddenly collapsed, too weak from the crash. Adam rushed forward without thinking, catching her before she hit the ground. "Don't touch her," Velia warned. But Thari whispered, "Let him." Adam looked at her carefully. "You're injured, you need help." Velia grabbed his arm. "If you lie, if you betray us." Adam nodded. "I won't." He led them quietly back to his old barn, far behind his house, hidden among trees. He laid Thari down on a blanket, brought water and bandages. Velia watched his every move, her body tense, her mind racing with suspicion. But Adam never asked questions, he just helped. Thari looked at him with tired eyes. "Why are you helping us?" Adam looked away. "Because someone should." Night turned to morning, and the forest birds sang like nothing had changed. But something had. 2 alien sisters had arrived on Earth, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as exiles. One of them burned with pride and anger. The other carried quiet hope in her heart. And one human, alone and forgotten by most, had seen them, not with fear, but with compassion, in the distance. Strange machines scanned the sky. Government satellites picked up energy signatures they couldn't explain. The countdown to discovery had already begun. But for now, inside a quiet barn, a bond had started between human and alien, between punishment and second chances, and Earth, for all its flaws, had just become something unexpected. A place of healing, a place of change, a place where love might grow, even between stars. The morning sun rose gently over the hills, casting golden light on Adam's quiet farm. Inside the old barn, Thari slowly opened her eyes. The scent of Earth's soil, wood, and fresh air filled her lungs. She had never smelled anything so real, so soft. Velia stood nearby, armor still on, watching the entrance like a soldier guarding a gate. Her body was alert, but her mind was tired. Tired of running, tired of hiding. She looked at her sister, who now lay wrapped in a rough old blanket, and said, "Don't get used to this." But Thari didn't reply. She was staring at something beside her. a single flower growing through the cracks in the barn floor. She touched it gently and tears formed in her glowing eyes. Outside, Adam was feeding his animals, pretending everything was normal. But inside, he kept glancing at the barn, wondering who these girls really were. Aliens, yes, but they looked almost human, more beautiful than any woman he had ever seen, but also more dangerous. When he returned, Thari sat up slowly and smiled weakly. "I like this planet," she whispered. Velia growled. "You're weak, Thari," but Adam replied. Before Thari could, "She's not weak," he said, handing her warm bread. "She's just finally safe." Velia's eyes narrowed. "No one is safe," she said, "especially not near humans." Adam didn't argue. Instead, he turned on an old radio and played soft music. A slow, human song filled the barn. Thari tilted her head. "Enchanted, what is this?" she asked. "Music," Adam replied. "It helps when you're sad." Velia crossed her arms. "Noise." But even she couldn't fully ignore it. Her fingers tapped softly against her armor, just once, just enough to betray that maybe. She felt it too. Meanwhile, back in town, something strange was happening. Sheriff Dalton reviewed reports from last night. Several people had seen lights in the sky. One farmer claimed his cows ran off in fear. Another said he saw shadows with glowing skin. Dalton didn't believe them until a black van arrived outside the station. Men in suits stepped out without showing any ID. They didn't smile. They only asked, "Have you seen anything fall from the sky?" Back on the farm, Adam showed Thari how to eat earth food. She coughed at first, then laughed a sound like crystal wind. Velia turned away, pretending not to care. But deep down, it unsettled her. Her sister was forgetting who they were, and worse, Velia was starting to forget too. Later that day, Adam took them out at night, through the back fields. He showed them the stars from Earth's view. Thari pointed to a distant cluster and said, "That's where we were born." Adam looked up. "It's beautiful." Velia said nothing, but she was thinking the same thing. Thari walked ahead and stopped by a tree. She placed her hand on the bark, then knelt to the ground. She whispered, "Everything here grows." Adam looked at her, confused. "On Rithalen, we build metal towers, machines, ships," Thari explained. "But nothing grows." Then she looked at him and asked softly, "How do you live so close to beauty without noticing it?" Adam didn't answer. He had no words, not because he didn't know, but because maybe he had forgotten too. Velia stayed back, always watching, always silent. But when she thought no one was looking, she reached out and touched a tree too, and her hand lingered there, just for a moment. That night, back in the barn, Adam sat outside. While the sisters rested, he looked up at the stars and whispered, "What are you two doing to me?" In the shadows beyond the hills, a dark drone hovered silently. It had found them, and someone was watching, recording. Tomorrow would not be peaceful. But for tonight, one alien girl cried at the beauty of a flower, and the other touched a tree, like it was something holy. And a human, alone in the world, felt something he hadn't felt in years, hope. Night had fallen again on the quiet earth farm. A cool breeze passed through the fields, whispering secrets only the wind could carry. Inside the barn, Thari slept peacefully, her body still recovering from the crash. But Velia stood outside. Under the stars, her arms crossed, her golden armor shining faintly in the moonlight. She had trained to fight wars, not watch flowers bloom. She had led squads into battle, not listened to birds sing, and yet, here she was staring at the sky, thinking about the way Adam had smiled at her sister. She didn't trust him, not fully, but he hadn't run, he hadn't screamed. And most of all, he hadn't told anyone about them. That made him different, strange, maybe even dangerous. Velia heard a sound behind her soft footsteps. She turned sharply, ready for trouble. But it was Adam, holding 2 mugs of warm tea. "It helps you sleep," he said, offering her one. Velia didn't move. Adam didn't push. He just sat down on the wooden step and stared at the stars. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then finally, Velia sat too, just a little distance away. She didn't touch the tea, but she didn't walk away either. "You don't talk much," Adam said after a long pause. Velia looked at him coldly. "Words are weapons when used wrong," Adam nodded. "And silence is armor." Velia glanced sideways. Almost surprised, he understood more than she thought. "Why are you here?" she asked suddenly. "On this farm, alone?" Adam sighed. "Because I ran away too." Velia tilted her head, curious. "From what?" Adam stared at the sky. "From people who didn't care. From noise, from fake smiles, from war." He turned to her. "Now it's just me, the fields, and the quiet." Velia said nothing, but for the first time, her gaze softened inside. Thari woke from a dream. She looked around and saw no one. She stepped out and found Velia and Adam sitting quietly side by side. The sight made her smile. Her sister, who once said humans were weak, now sat beside one like he was. Not so bad. The next morning, trouble knocked at their door, literally. A tall man in black clothes came walking up the dirt path to Adam's house. He was clean, silent, and serious. He didn't carry a badge, but he didn't need one, men-like. That never asked, they just took. Adam met him on the porch, heart pounding. "Can I help you?" he asked, pretending to be calm. The man looked around, his eyes sharp. "Reports of a meteor crash in these woods," he said. "We're checking every property nearby." Adam shook his head. "Didn't see anything." The man narrowed his eyes. "You live alone?" Adam nodded. "Just me and some chickens." The agent gave a tight smile. "If you see anything strange, anything at all, call this number." He handed Adam a black card. No name, no logo, just a number. Then he turned and left, his boots silent on the earth. Adam walked slowly back to the barn, heart racing. He didn't know how long he could protect them. Velia met him halfway, her face unreadable. "We need to move," she said. But Thari shook her head. "Move where?" "We have nowhere to go." That night, Velia stood guard again, but this time, she didn't stand alone. Adam stayed beside her, holding an old flashlight like it was a sword. He didn't say anything brave, he didn't promise to win, he just stayed, and for Velia, that meant something. She had led armies, yes, but no one had ever stood beside her in silence, not like this. Not just to share the night, as the wind blew through the grass. She looked at Adam and said quietly, "You're not like the humans I studied." Adam smiled faintly. "I get that a lot." Then, for the first time, Velia took the tea from his hand and drank. She still didn't trust him fully, but her eyes, once hard as steel, had begun to soften. And the warrior heart that once knew only duty now felt something else blooming inside. Something dangerous, something warm, asterisk. The sun had barely risen when the boy saw it. 10-year-old Caleb loved sneaking into the woods behind his grandpa's farm. That morning, he found something shiny half buried in the earth near the old stream. It was metal not rusted or old, but smooth and glowing with soft blue lights. Like something from a movie, he poked it with a stick, then pulled out his grandpa's dusty camcorder and recorded a short video. He didn't understand what it was. But by the time he ran home and uploaded the clip to his private blog, someone else had seen it too. Across the stars, data signals moved fast, but not faster than Earth's government agents. Within an hour, black vans rolled through the sleepy roads near Adam's farm. No sirens, no warning. Just silent movement like a shadow falling over the town. In the barn, Thari was laughing for the first time. Adam had shown her how to use a paintbrush. She held it like it was made of glass and painted crooked lines on an old wooden wall. Velia sat nearby, arms crossed, pretending to ignore them. But even she smiled when Thari said, "I think I'm getting worse at this." The moment broke. When Adam's old radio buzzed to life, it was tuned to the local channel. But a new voice interrupted. "Security alert. Possible downed aircraft reported in the area." Adam froze. Velia stood up in a flash. Thari dropped the brush. Found the pod, Velia said flatly. Adam's heart sank. How? Velia's eyes darkened. We didn't bury it deep enough. Outside. The birds had stopped singing. The wind shifted, bringing with it the faint hum of hovering drones. We have to move, Velia said, her voice hard again. No, Thari replied, not yet, not like this. Adam looked between them, his hands shaking slightly. There's an old mine shaft half a mile from here, he said. No one goes there anymore. Velia nodded once. Then we go now, they packed. Fast, very little to carry. Just a few supplies, some of Adam's clothes, and Velia's remaining gear. Thari paused to look back at the barn and whispered, I felt safe here. As they moved through the tall grass behind the farm, a black drone zipped overhead. Velia reacted fast, pulling out a small device from her belt. She pressed it, and the drone sparked, then dropped into the grass smoking. But the damage was done. Someone would know they were here. Someone was watching. Back in town, Sheriff Dalton tried to stop the black-suited men from searching properties. This is a peaceful town, he sighed. We don't do raids without cause. The lead agent simply showed him the drone footage thermal images of 3 figures running through the trees. 2 with high-energy signatures, 1 human. The sheriff looked closer and whispered, That's Adam, at the mine shaft. Adam helped Thari down carefully while Velia kept watch. The place was damp, dark, and full of cobwebs, but it was deep, safe for now. They sat in silence, the only sound being the distant hum of engines searching the forest. Thari leaned against Adam and whispered, They'll never stop, will they? Adam shook his head slowly. Not unless we give them something else to chase. Velia suddenly stood, her eyes sharp. I'll draw them away, she said. Alone? Thari jumped to her feet. No. But Velia raised her hand. I'm the reason they're here. Adam spoke gently. You don't have to do this. Velia looked at him with eyes that no longer burned with hate, but with something deeper. I once thought humans were weak, she said. But you're stronger than I ever was. Then without waiting, she climbed out of the shaft and vanished into the trees. Meanwhile, in a hidden control room inside the black van, agents tracked the movement. Target 1 has broken off from the group, one of them said. Pursue, the leader replied. They're running out of forest, back in the shaft. Thari grabbed Adam's hand tightly. She's not coming back, is she? Adam didn't answer. He just held her hand and stared into the dark. Above them, far beyond the skies, something moved. A signal had been sent, a distress beacon Velia had activated before leaving. And somewhere in the cold black of space, a ship answered. Not a warship, not a rescue pod, something else, something that would change everything. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then stronger. It washed over the trees like tears from the sky. Velia ran through the forest, soaked and silent, her golden armor dull under the storm. She didn't run to escape. She ran to be seen. She wanted them to find her. She wanted to buy time, for her sister, for Adam. She reached a clearing and stopped, standing tall like a soldier ready for war. Moments later, lights appeared through the rain-cold, white and blinding. Hovercraft surrounded her, engines humming low. Men in dark suits stepped out with weapons drawn. Velia raised her hands slowly, her voice calm but proud. I surrender. Inside the old mine shaft, Thari felt it. She clutched Adam's arm and whispered, She's been taken. Adam looked at her with disbelief. She gave herself up? Thari nodded, her eyes full of fear. She thinks she's protecting us. Adam stood up, his jaw tight. She's not dying for me, he said. I won't let that happen. Back in the military compound, Velia was dragged into a cold steel room. Her armor had been removed, replaced by thick restraints glowing blue with anti-energy fields. They treated her like a weapon, a dangerous object, not a person. One agent stepped forward, tapping a digital pad. You will tell us where the other one is, he said. Velia laughed softly. You wouldn't understand if I did. The agent narrowed his eyes. You think we won't break you? Velia looked him straight in the face. I've already been broken once. Far away. Adam was racing down the muddy roads in his old truck. Thari sat beside him, shaking. You're going to die if you go there, she said. Adam didn't. Slow down. I'd rather die trying to save her than live knowing I did nothing. The compound was guarded, tall gates and armed men. But Adam had grown up around military mines. His father had been one once. He knew how to get in, under the cover of night and rain. Adam crept through the forest until he reached the rear fencing. Thari hacked the power with a small alien device Velia had left behind. A short zap, and the fence went dead. Inside, Velia sat in the dark, her body weak from the energy suppression. But her mind was sharp. She counted footsteps, memorized guard movements, and then something unexpected. The door opened. A shadow stepped in. Not a soldier, not an agent, Velia, Adam whispered. She looked up, stunned. Why? Are you here? She asked, her voice cracking. I told you to run. Adam stepped forward. And I told you I'm not leaving you. He placed a hand on the control panel. Thari had guided him from outside. The restraints powered down with a spark. Velia stood weak but proud. You're a fool, she said. Adam smiled. Maybe. Alarms blared suddenly. The guards had noticed. They were coming fast. Velia grabbed a stun baton from the wall and tossed another to Adam. Together, they ran through the hall, dodging bullets, sliding through doors. Not as warrior and captive, but as equals. Thari met them outside the fence, her fingers flying across the alien device. The gates opened, a path cleared. They escaped just barely, but the moment they were safe, Velia collapsed. Adam caught her in his arms. Her breathing was heavy, her body cold. You should have let me die, she whispered. Adam shook his head fiercely. No, he said. I didn't save you because you're an alien. He touched her face gently. I saved you because you matter. Velia looked at him. Her eyes filled with something new, something terrifying, something beautiful, tears. She had trained all her life to never cry, to never care. But now one human had broken the walls she thought were unbreakable, and her heart, once frozen by duty and pain, now burned with warmth. She didn't understand, she didn't speak, she just held his hand. And in the distance, far beyond Earth's sky, a ship had arrived. It hovered in stealth. Invisible to Earth's eyes, inside, someone powerful had seen everything. And they were coming, not for war, but for judgment. The fate of 2 alien girls and 1 brave human was about to be decided. Asterisk, the sky above Earth shifted, though no human noticed. There was no explosion, no sound. Just a quiet ripple in the clouds as an invisible ship entered the planet's atmosphere. It hovered far above the farm, silent like a ghost. Inside, the Empress of Rethalan sat on a throne of light and crystal. She did not blink. She simply watched. On a floating screen, she saw the human Adam carry Velia in his arms. She saw Thari walking beside him, holding back tears, and she whispered softly, "Strange planet, strange people." Her advisors begged her to order their capture. "Velia disgraced your name," one hissed. "Thari betrayed the High House," said another. But the Empress raised a single hand. "I came to see with my own eyes," she said. "Not to judge through noise." Back on Earth, Adam helped Velia into the barn. He laid her gently on a blanket, covering her with an old coat. She was still weak, her body drained by the military's energy field. Thari sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. "You came back," Velia whispered. Thari smiled. "Of course I did." Adam lit a small fire and sat beside them. No one spoke for a while. They just listened to the rain, but in the darkness outside, something shimmered. A tall woman appeared, dressed in silver robes that floated like smoke. Her skin was the color of moonlight. Her eyes were stars. She had no guards, no weapons. She didn't need them. The Empress had arrived. Velia sat up sharply, heart pounding. Thari gasped, recognizing the voice before she even saw the face. "Empress," she breathed. Adam stood in front of them, unsure what to do. But the Empress raised her hand gently. I am not here to punish, she said. I came to understand. Velia bowed her head. I disgraced your crown. Thari knelt beside her. I disobeyed out of love. The Empress looked at them. Both, then turned her eyes to Adam. You, she said softly. You are the one who changed them. Adam stepped forward, nervous but firm. They're not who you think, he said. They're more than soldiers, more than titles. He looked at Velia. She risked her life to protect me. Then at Thari. She showed me beauty where I forgot it existed. The Empress studied his face. You speak with conviction, she said. But love can make people foolish. Adam nodded. Maybe, he said. But sometimes it also makes them brave. A silence followed, the kind that held the weight of empires. Finally the Empress asked, What would you do, human, if I took them away? Adam didn't hesitate. I'd come after them, he said. I'd build wings out of scrap and fly. I'd scream through every galaxy until someone heard me. Velia blinked, her heart stirred. Thari smiled, her eyes sparkled, and the Empress laughed, a quiet, gentle laugh like wind on water. You are truly a strange species, she said. Your world is wild, your mind's fragile, yet your heart's loud. She stepped forward and reached out her hand. On her palm, a golden symbol glowed. She placed it over Velia's chest, then over Thari's, with a soft light. The mark of exile vanished. You are no longer punished, she said. You are no longer lost. Velia stared in disbelief. Thari covered her mouth, crying. Quietly, Adam looked at the Empress, confused. You're letting them stay? The Empress turned to him. No, she said. I'm giving them a choice. She stepped back, her body glowing. My ship will wait above for one day, she said. After that, it leaves. She paused, then added, if they do not return, it will not return for them. And just like that she vanished. No sound, no wind, no flash, just gone. Silence returned to the barn. But inside, hearts were louder than ever. Velia looked at Thari. Thari looked at Adam, and Adam looked at them. Both, one night to decide, one day to choose between the stars they were born under, and the earth that had changed everything. Outside, the rain stopped, and the sky opened, waiting. The sky remained still. Above the clouds, the Empress's ship hovered silently. Cloaked and waiting, time was ticking. One night, one dawn, one decision. Inside the barn, everything felt heavier. The fire had burned down to embers. Velia sat quietly, sharpening the edge of a broken blade. Not because she needed it, but because it helped her think. Thari stared at the golden flower she had painted on the wooden wall earlier. It had no meaning then, but now it felt like a symbol of everything: growth, change, beauty born from pain. Adam stood by the window, watching the stars blink above the field. He knew they could leave. He knew he might wake up tomorrow, and they'd be gone. He tried not to feel it, but his hands trembled anyway. Velia broke the silence. She will keep her word. Adam nodded slowly. She doesn't seem like one who lies. Velia turned to him. If we stay, we lose everything we were. Adam met her eyes. Maybe, he said. Or maybe you find who you were meant to be. Thari looked at both of them. I don't want to return to a throne built on fear, she said softly. I want to live on a planet where flowers grow through stone. Velia said nothing. She stood up, walked outside, and stared at the stars. She thought of all the battles she had won, the order she had followed, the pride she once wore like armor. But now, all she could think of was how Adam had risked everything for her, without asking for anything in return. Morning came slowly. The first rays of sunlight touched the edge of the hills. The ship above the clouds remained still, waiting. Velia returned to the barn. Thari looked up. Are you going? Velia shook her head slowly. No. Adam's eyes widened, surprised. Thari gasped and ran into her sister's arms. You chose Earth? She whispered. Velia smiled for the first time, not out of duty or pride, but something softer. I chose you, she said. I chose this. Just then, A soft beam of golden light entered through the roof. It was silent, like a farewell. No words, no message, just light. Then, it faded. The Empress's ship was gone. They had made their choice, and the stars accepted it. Weeks passed, then months, and the world moved on. The government never found the sisters again. Some believed the crash story was fake. Others were told to forget. On the farm, life was different now. Thari spent her mornings planting flowers and talking to birds. She was still learning Earth's languages, but her smile needed no translation. Velia built machines out of scrap and old barn tools. But more importantly, she laughed now. Not often, but real. Adam had found something too. He was no longer just a forgotten man in a quiet field. He had a family, a reason to wake up, a reason to fight if needed. One evening, they all sat outside watching the stars. Velia pointed to a bright one and said, "That used to be home." Adam looked at her. "And this?" She looked at the field, the barn, Thari sleeping on a blanket nearby. Then back at him. "This is better," Adam smiled. "No crowns here," he joked. Velia leaned back. "No thrones either." She replied, "Just quiet." And Adam added, "Softly, and love." They sat there until the sky turned purple and the fireflies danced. Two alien girls who had come to Earth as punishment, but found something no empire could give. Not power, not riches, but a place to belong, a place to heal, a place called home, and above them, far away where no ship could reach, the stars blinked quietly, as if smiling back.